Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum and a very warm welcome to world this morning. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone out there. I am your host Hajra Satti and joining me is my wonderful co-host Fahim Bangesh. Assalamualaikum Fahim and Ramadan Mubarak.
Walaikum assalam and khair Mubarak once again to you, and it's so wonderful coming here every day, and not to forget the beautiful weather that we have today. And usually sunny weather is considered to be, a happy weather, joyous weather. But I do find the cloudy weather, the drizzle, very romantic, very nice. And I think all of us must be enjoying it. I don't know about you here, Ajra.
I think in the South Asian culture, sunny weather is not as eulogized as the rainy weather, because obviously, like you mentioned, there's certain notion of romanticism with the rain that is attached a lot. But conversely, if you move to European literature, you will find that they eulogize sun a lot because they don't get to see sun as often as we, do see it often in the South Asian cultures, especially in Pakistan, because recently we can feel 50-degree temperature and that sort of sweltering sun, and especially because of this climate change and all of these climate abnormalities that has struck our region. It's really, really unfortunate. But yes, I'm really enjoying the weather out there, and certainly there's so many variations. One day you feel, it's getting springy, it's getting somehow a little bit sweaty.
More and more beautiful. But Hajra, one thing I must say that I pity that you do not consume coffee or tea, because this is the weather for coffee and tea.
Yes.
And I'm sure the majority of the people would love to have coffee and tea, except that it's Ramzan, right?
Yes,
and we can't have it.
Yes.
But talking about Ramzan, I think this is the month where people in Pakistan, I think the whole subcontinent, they tend to eat a lot.
Yes, yes.
And they tend to overeat, as a matter of fact, because they haven't eaten anything all day long, and they jump on the food. And not to forget that we don't have that concept of intermittent fasting very common in the subcontinent area, which is why people are not used to being hungry so much, which is why we have the problems like acidity, which is why we have problems like bloating, and we have to come on medications eventually.
And I think there's one concept which is extremely tied to this notion of acidity, and because we overconsume, especially during the iftari, which is that the element of mobility is really, really reduced in our lifestyle. So, how many times do we tend to walk? And I don't see that very vibrant culture here in Pakistan because of the different reasons.
How would you walk after overeating, really?
I mean, in general, we do not tend to walk a lot, right? As our ancestors used to do, because now we have cars and now we have, public transport. So we prefer walking. We prefer using that instead of walking, right? And I think that is why there's a lot of diseases that are on the rise, because
loads and loads of them. Yes, you're very right, Hajra, and it's actually something really sad.
Yes, yes.
Talking about health, now we seem to hear from many of the doctors that using olive oil instead of normal oil or sunflower or seed oil, that is something very, very healthy for the human body, as it can protect you from heart diseases, it can protect you from many of the other neurological problems. It's very good for the nerves, and it will soothe you. And obviously, as we know, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he also preferred olives. It was one of his favorite diets. And but something that I think about often, Hajra, that many of the things which are sunnah, which Prophet ﷺ used to really like, are very expensive for the common man.
Yes, that's very true, because I don't think so that there's a, indigenous focus on consuming them. Having said so, like you very rightly mentioned, olive is mentioned in Quran. It is also mentioned in Bible, all of these heavenly scriptures. It's a sort of, I think, a bridging, a bridge between the East and the West, because I was reading a long time ago about the Abdul Rahman III of the Spain, and when he escaped from here and he went to Spain, he conquered the Spain, and then obviously he had a lot of golden history pages to his name. But one thing that he introduced to Spain, and that got really popularized after that, was the date trees, right? He introduced the cultures of the date trees and olives and these dates. I think they are very emblematic of the Arab Arab culture, especially of that time there, and it flourished in the Spain, from Spain and traveled to all over the Europe. And these sort of cultural exchanges we find between the East and the West. And I think olive is really, really healthy if you consume it in your breakfast. And in a lot of Western culture, you will find its presence in the breakfast of consuming the olives. So do you like olives, Fahim, in the first place?
Actually, in my childhood, I never liked olives, but then my father got transferred to Saudi Arabia, and when we went there, I developed that taste for olives, and now I can't stop them. Really, once you start, you can't stop. I really, really love them because obviously, A, it's sunnah, B, it's good for health, C, I've developed the taste. So once I've developed the taste for something, I have to have it.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's wonderful. I think I'm also trying to develop that taste because olive is very expensive in Pakistan. But having said so, I think there are a lot of efforts being made to make it more less costly and more affordable in that sense. So today we are going to talk about the olive culture in Pakistan, how it is being encouraged in Pakistan. And Pakistan has a really fertile ground when it comes to olive production here because, Fahim, like you and I know that Pakistan is basically an agrarian society. I think a lot of people in our rural areas, they engage in the agriculture, and that is why it is very much important to, have this sort of the plantation in Pakistan.
And Hajra, like you very rightly said, that Pakistan has the very right environment for plantation of olives because they need running water, they don't need stagnancy. They don't need acidic soil, they don't need saline water. So yes, all of these things are there, and sunny winters. So yes, we do have all these aspects when it comes to olive culture. And with respect to that, I would love to introduce our guests for today. Our first guest is Dr. Costantino Parma. He's an international expert and country director, CIHEAM Bari. CIHEAM is basically a network of institutions. And with that institution, there are hundreds of networks of institutions connected all over the world. And basically, this fosters the spirit of international cooperation in promoting sustainable agriculture. And that's what we need in this era, in this time. Doctor, welcome to PTV World and good morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us here.
It's definitely a pleasure having you. So, joining Dr. Costantino, we have Dr. Azmat Ali Awan, who happens to be Deputy National Project Director, PSDP Olive Project. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab, and welcome to PTV World this morning. Ramadan Mubarak to you, and a very good morning.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you so much to invite us for this show. This is very important for the people of Pakistani, that they will know about the olive consumption in Pakistan. Thank you so much.
Right. Starting with Dr. Costantino, so we would like you to introduce what sort of work are you doing, especially you are here to promoting the olive culture in Pakistan. And like we mentioned in our introduction, so olives are really, really expensive in Pakistan. So please go ahead. It's your.
So, as you clearly mentioned, we are here, and the cooperation aspect is very much what we are trying to do. No? We represent CIHEAM Bari, but in particular, this is an Italian government-sponsored project. Italy is sponsoring and, in a matter of fact, cooperating with Pakistan on the olive since maybe the 80s, 90s. And now, with the big interest that has grown since 2012, and with the project that now Dr. Azmat Saab is representing here today, there are many plantations in place. There are approximately 4.5 million trees planted in Pakistan. And it's, as you said, the climate is very suitable. We are trying to streamline the whole value chain, so from seed to mouth, from the nursery to science to research to the producer. Of course, we provide a lot of trainings in good agronomic practices, to the processing, to the market. So we believe firmly that this product can have a great success in the country for in consumption, but also for export when the time will be suited, when certification will be in place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry for cutting out, Fahim. So, Dr. Azmat, you were mentioning about, because one thing that has been consistent in our state policy is encouraging the production of olive, right, regardless of the government. But having said so, this government is also very keen in investing in this project and making sure that we have good olive production here. So, Dr. Saab, please, would you like to throw some light and enlighten us about what sort of policy support do you provide to people out there who are on the fields and who are, farming or investing their time in the olive?
Basically, our project is funded by PSDP, federal government projects, promotion of olive cultivation on commercial scale in Pakistan. The main objective of this project to cultivate olive on commercial scale. We promote olive on commercial scales. So the main objective is to planted olive in 75,000 acres. Till now, we have covered around 40,000 acres from the past, from 2012 to 2022, and we have planted around 5 million plants throughout the country.
Wonderful.
In which include Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab, as well as GB and Azad Jammu and Kashmir. The main objective of our project to reduce our import bill. How we can reduce our import bill? You know that mostly we are working on sunflower, canola, soybean, but we cannot reduce our import bill through these traditional crops because the land is not available for these plants, and it comes with the competition of other traditional crops like wheat and maize. So we have only one choice, that we can promote olive, and through olive promotion we can reduce our import bill. This is very important for us, and we are also with the olive culture project, with the collaboration of Italian funded projects. We are going to impart the training sessions, which is very important to develop the capacity building of the progressive farmers, and as well as the gap which we are filling in our projects will be filled through olive culture projects.
Right.
So the other we are going to provide the plants as well as drip irrigation system on subsidized rates to the farmers. Mean 33% share pay by farmer, while 67% by the government project. So hopefully a time will come soon that we will help and we will participate. We can put our contribution to reduce our import bill.
Right.
Right, and Dr. Costantino, now talking about the technology, obviously there's a very healthy liaison between the Italian government, the CM Bari, and the government of Pakistan. What kind of technology are we talking about here to actually increase the produce as far as the olive crop is concerned?
As far as technology, as far as machinery, that Italy is very much at the forefront of this. We are the second largest producer of olive oil in the whole world after Spain. So, of course, we have more than 2,000 years of experience in producing olive oil, and our machinery has been very advanced. For example, in the processing plants usually are produced in Italy. We have many brands. And as a matter of fact, there has been also this cooperation, because in Pakistan now there are 26 processing plants, small, medium, not so big, but all around the Pakistan, Balochistan, KP, and Punjab. And this belongs to Italy as well. They have been partially funded in the past by the Italian government, purchased by Pakistan as well. So this is regarding the processing. In field, there need, more than the technology, we need the farmer to understand how to maintain an orchard. We need to understand them that this is like a typical fruit tree. It's not that you leave it there and it will bear fruit. You need to maintain, you need to care about it, because if you care, it will bear fruit and give you, another additional profit to what is your normal, agricultural practices. So this, we believe, it's very important, and then the technology steps in, of course.
Okay.
But technology, there is always the risk, that can reduce the labor, because as more mechanization you introduce, as less labor you need. And because Pakistan has a lot of labor opportunity, we believe that mechanization is okay, but still a certain limit,
Right.
I see.
Whether in Italy, for example, labor is very expensive.
Yes.
And we don't have availability of labor. So mechanization there, now it's getting more and more and more, because an entrepreneur, a farmer, is, believing that mechanization will cut their costs.
Right, right.
This is a bit.
Right. So, Dr. Azmat, moving on to you. So, I mentioned about how Pakistan is basically an agrarian economy, and I think our rural population is engaged in the agriculture sector. So, Dr. Saab, but again, then a lot of studies they are pointing out that how women's role in the agriculture makes them or invisibilizes them in the economy, because they are earning the money, but they are invisible in that economy, and hence the term was coined feminization of poverty. But when I was talking to you, you told me a very interesting model in which you are engaging women, and how are you promoting women empowerment in this your entire project of olive plantation?
Basically, we are working on whole value chain from nursery till the marketing, but mostly the women are engaged in the olive validations.
Okay.
Basically, they are engaged in the preparing of pickles, 2-3 types of olive pickles. They are working in the preparation of olive green tea and so many other products like soap and the cosmetics. So women are basically engaged in the value addition products, as well as some women, they are engaged in the development of olive nursery, which is very, you can say, a good step in Pakistan, that women can also engage the propagation of olive nurseries.
Wonderful.
This is very important. And also we are working on the policy to prepare the documents for the Pakistan Olive Oil Council. So we can also give a part for the females.
Right.
They are also the part of our team. They are working with us on the preparation of policy for Pakistani Olive Oil Council.
Right. Dr. Parma, unfortunately, our land is struck by a global calamity called climate change. And the last year, we have seen that there has been so much flooding in Pakistan, and the amount of water that has crept in. And our team went to those areas, and we reported from there where there was a maximum flooding and devastation. So I talked to people, and there were a lot of farmers who were very worried about how their crops have been destroyed because of that. And so people were thinking of changing their profession, because they say, because in the coming years, we might see an intensity in such sort of calamity, right? So how do you make sure that we have a more climate resistance crops out there, and it's more of a sustainable project, agro project for the farmers out there?
You know, we have to start from the idea that the olive is endemic in the country. So
Okay.
there are millions of olive trees which are wild.
Okay.
So we are just talking about, Dr. Azmat Saab and myself, about something that is still existing in Pakistan,
Okay.
no? And is very resilient somehow, because it belongs to here. No? The second point is, olive is well known to be, you know, a climate smart plant. It absorbs CO2. So now that climate change is something very present in the whole world, not only in Pakistan, because sometimes we forget what is happening around us, but climate change is a reality. So we believe that the olive plantation can help, you know, in reducing the soil erosion, which is very much a problem here in the country, you know, and that has even led to the worsening condition during the floods last year.
Yes.
And it needs low amount of water in respect to other crops, which, you know, if not irrigated, they will not bear fruit. I make you the example. I come from Puglia, is in the south of Italy, and almost, 80% of our olive production is rain-fed.
Okay.
We don't irrigate them, no?
Okay.
So we believe that, of course, if you have irrigation, they will produce more.
Okay.
But without, and in rain-fed mode,
Wonderful.
they still, you know, bear fruit, and this is something very positive for the
Right.
climate, for the profit also of a farmer at the end.
Lovely. Also, Dr. If I come to you, Pakistan basically overall is an arable land if we don't talk about the southern areas. Which exact parts do you think are most suitable for cultivation of olives if you've done some analysis in that regard?
I will start from Balochistan, because most of the area of Balochistan is very the climate is very conducive for olive cultivation
I see.
in Balochistan. Then in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, like Fata, and the other is like Suad, Bunir, Chatral, Bajawar, Noshera to some extent. These areas like Dikhan, the people of Dikhan are also starting the plantation of olives in Kohad, in these areas, and then in Potohar region in Punjab. So most of the areas, these are suitable for olive cultivation. And the other thing, in addition of Dr. Parma discussion, I will add something that in Pakistan we have millions of existing olive oil plants, which are mostly in the hilly areas. No one give him the water, fertilizer, anything, because these wild olive is more resistant against drought system as well as
Okay.
the disease. basically we prefer to the marginal land in Pakistan. Identified more than 8 million hectare areas suitable for olive cultivation. So basically we first prefer to the marginal land, those land which are completely barren and no cultivation. First we prefer and propose to the farmer to please bring under cultivation these areas.
Okay.
So most of the areas these are suitable for olive cultivation.
Also, Dr. Costantino, we often hear people talking about the quality of olives. They speak about the Italian, the Spanish olives. How can we ensure the same quality in Pakistan?
Quality is something very much important, and we firmly believe that if every actor of the value chain, from the nurseryman, the producer, they fall in love about their quality, this is the key to have, you know, a great success in this olive plantation. But, you know, for Pakistani, the quality is something now that is still very blurred. Why? Because, and I want to tell it here, there is, like when you go and purchase a car, no? There are various types of car, the more expensive, the Mercedes, and then there is the Toyota, and then there is for the same is for olive. So when we talk about extra virgin olive oil, it means that it had, you know, a cold press procedure, and it's more beneficial because it keeps all the nutraceutical. It's like a juice.
Okay.
You know, like an orange juice. It keeps all the nutraceutical benefit, polyphenols, antioxidant. So it's very high in nutraceutical value, extra virgin. When we talk about virgin, it's, you know, less because it has an acidity a little bit higher, above 0.8, and it should be at a lower price. The third grade, which we find very much, I mean, in Islamabad, is very often, it's pomace oil. Pomace oil, it's done with the leftovers of the cold press production.
Okay.
And this oil, if you can say olive oil, it is olive oil, but it is, you know, completely something different.
Okay.
Because it is a chemical extraction, no?
Okay.
And why I'm saying this, because sometimes in the market I see pomace at the same price as extra virgin. It should not be like this. Extra virgin should have, you know, the topper price, and pomace, because it comes from leftover, should be, you know, on a lower price. This is just, you know, because people should understand that there are various classes of it, no?
Right, right. Dr. Azmat, one last question before we wrap up our segment. So let's talk about the challenges that you might have faced in your project. One of the challenges about the climate change and the climate resilient crops we talk about. But what exactly are the other challenges, or they are sort of your bottlenecks that you can face in this your project?
There are few challenges that we face. First of all, the budget constraint.
Right.
The other thing is in the project we have farmer shares, which is 33%, which is very high for the farmers.
Okay.
If it reduced, maybe we can achieve the target. Otherwise, it will not be possible to achieve that 75,000 acre within time.
Right.
And the other thing that we are facing in some areas, that is the marketing issues, and some need awareness to the farmers regarding the packing material not available in Pakistan as per standard. So these are the main challenges that we face, but hopefully we are trying. We have submitted a revised PCO to the government of Pakistan to reduce the farmer share. If they agreed, so hopefully we will achieve our target.
Well, Dr. Awan, we wish you the best of luck in that regard, and all the endeavors that both of you in collaboration are doing, the government of Pakistan and CIHEAM Bari. It's something really healthy for Pakistan that obviously, like you were mentioning, Dr. Awan, we need to reduce the import bill, and this is one of the ways to do it. And I hope all the bottlenecks are removed with the passage of time, and with the collaboration with CIHEAM, I hope that this will go a long way for Pakistan.
Yes, so Dr. Parma, you wanted to hop along, so please go ahead.
Yes, just to add to this bottleneck, I firmly believe that the government and, you know, international initiative, they have done sufficient job.
Okay.
Still more is needed in the field of technical assistance.
Right.
But now, let me tell you that is the moment that the privates would step in, you know, the industry will step in.
Right.
Because it's a flourishing value chain.
Right.
It has a huge potential. And in a matter of fact, we believe that it will be the future of Pakistan as well.
Right.
In October, we will have an international fair in Italy regarding agriculture and olive.
Wonderful.
And we will bring some of the most, you know, progressive farmers over there to show to the world, to show to the Europeans, which are leading the market, that Pakistan is there, But it's not just, an importing country, but now it's the moment that it will, also export and produce quality.
Well, that's lovely. So thank you very much, Dr. Costantino Parma, for
Thank
coming
you so
in
much.
here
Thank you
and
so
for
much.
sharing your expertise and your views regarding the Pakistani olive culture and industry.
Thank
Dr. Azmat Ali Awan, thank you very much for
Thank
being
you so
here.
much.
Thank you for giving us your time. Well, viewers, don't go anywhere. We'll take a short break, and we have something really interesting coming up in the program. Don't go anywhere with World This Morning.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد
First 10 days of Ramadan are to seek mercy.
اللهم اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين.
O Lord, forgive and have mercy, and you are the best of merciful.
से काम होगा.
Sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He who does not respect elders, does not have mercy on children, does not commend what is good, and does not forbid what is evil, is not one of us.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying tuned to PTV World. So today is 31st of March, I would like to say.
Yes.
And having said so, today is a very important day because we keep talking in our show about the inclusivity, about the diversity, and it's high time that we convert that all of that talks into action. So today is the World Autism Day, and the theme of the day is transformation towards a neuro-inclusive world for all. Right, and Fahim and I were in the conversation and we were discussing nowadays, obviously we do not know if there's any scientific link to that, but we see that there is a resurgence or in general an uptick in the cases of the autism.
Yes, that's true.
Right.
Now, we still have to see whether it's just being overdiagnosed or
Yes.
are there any other factors behind it,
Yes.
behind the increase in the autism cases,
Yes.
or whether it's the technology which is behind it. We have yet to discuss that because obviously we have guests with us who would be talking about this. We have Dr. Sabeen Ahmad, who is a radiologist and has a diploma in autism from Center for Autism in Karachi, and we also have Miss Asma Ahmed, who will be talking about this exact thing and is a clinical psychologist. We're going to start with Dr. Sabeen Ahmad. Now, Dr. Sabeen, first of all, I'm sure many of the people out there, they don't really know what autism is all about. Could you shed some light in a general perspective about autism as a disease, as a disorder?
Sure. First of all, I would like to thank you, Hajra and Fahim, for inviting me to this show. And it's a topic very close to my heart. And it's like this, that autism, basically, it affects the way a child perceives this world. So what happens is, because of that, there are problems and dilemmas in the social interaction and the communication and the behavior. So everything becomes different for them. Like, they can learn things, but they don't learn it in the usual way. So, and as far as you were just discussing about the causes, so till now there's no like fixed cause or etiology of it that has been diagnosed or researched about. So we are still finding the factors. Maybe there's some environmental factors that why this is on a rising trend so much.
Right, Dr. Sabeen, so do you believe that the stealth nature of autism in particular, because obviously they are not as, very visible symptoms like of the TB, like of the cancer, of any other disease, is a hindrance in diagnosing the autism, because you mentioned that there's a learning problem with anyone who suffers from the autism, right? And is that a disease or is that a condition? As a layperson, please enlighten us, because we want to approach this topic with a greater sensitivity towards that.
Sure. Hajra, like, it's like this, that you can call it a disorder.
Okay.
Usually what parents feel is that, because I've been into therapy as well, I've been working with children. What happens is that parents feel that there is some, some magic pill or some therapy that will cure it. The thing is that these children, they do learn. They do learn everything, but because they are visual learners. So everything has to be taught by the flashcards, the visual cues. Like, you take any concept, maybe it's the concept of eating food, table manners, going to the washroom, concept of privacy, or you have to make them learn any day, like suppose the Qaid-e-Azam day. So everything has to be taught with the help of visual cues. And the second thing is that for them, like, you see, all of us, we have a structure of our day. Like, we can understand, like, suppose for today, I say, I woke up in the morning, I knew I had to get ready for your show, and then after the show, I will have to go to my department, I'll work there, and then I have a iftar party at my place. So everything in my brain, in my mind, I know that this is the structure of my day. Now what happens is, with these children, everything is abstract for them. So we have to teach them in a way how to structure their day. This also goes with the help of the flashcards and a few techniques which I'll be talking in detail.
Also, Dr. Sabeen, for my information, because when we study the autism spectrum disorder, there are many symptoms and signs that, or red flags as they call it. Now, for example, one of them I was studying the echolalia. Every child does that, and obviously there are other symptoms like not having eye contact, or perhaps you know, other symptoms like, of course, you would shed some light on that. How would you differentiate between a normal person and an autistic person, because some of the traits are in the normal people as well?
Yes, Fahim, you're very right. The thing is that there is a very fine line between, you know, the usual behavior disorders and autism. That's why the people, they get delayed in their diagnosis, because, you know, first of all comes the denial from the parents, then comes the denial from the society, the grandparents, everyone saying, it's okay, he'll start talking. But the core issue, like first of all, how you can diagnose. If I take a client or I get voice messages, the three things that I ask, okay, does the child build a rapport with the people surrounding himself? Secondly, does he have eye contact? Is he toilet trained? And does he, like, you know, usually children are very clingy to their mothers.
Yes.
These children aren't so. So the core symptoms are, because you have to keep this thing in mind. Instruction following is not there. Most of the children, if you ask the parents, usually they will tell that they went for a hearing test. Why? Because you'll be calling out their name.
They weren't responding, right?
Right? Because, you know, like 1.5-year-old child, you ask them to close the door, turn off the light, they would be doing that. So if a child by 2 years of age does not have, even now they're even diagnosing it earlier than that, because, you know, a 1-year-old, he pinpoints to things, he starts babbling or saying one word at least, even if not with clarity, but he knows, he can identify the things. Then instruction following, and then eye contact. So these are the few red flags. If by age of 1 or 1.5 years, it means that the child should be assessed, and the assessment should be a formal functional assessment by a psychologist or the teams that are available in our country.
And just one more thing before we wind up, Dr. Sabeen Ahmad. We were talking about a whole spectrum here. So is it from mild to severe, or every autistic child is the same? And other thing, for example, if a child has a comorbidity and other disease and other disorder with it, how would you manage it?
Right. This is a very important question, because yes, it is a spectrum disorder. That's why we call it autism spectrum disorder, ASD. So we have to know that it has a range from mild to severe. So whoever, like I worked in a center where we had almost about 15 children at a time. No two children will have the same symptoms. The reason being because it's a spectrum disorder. The core main symptoms that I just mentioned earlier, those will be present, but their capabilities, their, like, you can say the gross motor skills, the fine motor skills, the sensory issues, they will be different. So in mild cases, and that's why the diagnosis also gets missed. At very later stage, we come to know about the mild cases, because usually parents don't bring them up for the diagnosis. And the other part of your question, that it has, if there's comorbid, because I have seen a few children, not very much, but 2 or 3, who had other syndromes as well. In those syndromes, they were more like, you know, of having the physical disability, lesser tone of the muscles, couldn't walk properly. So for all this, what we can do is what is usually done in the centers or people who come for help, that and
Right. Dr. Sabeen, thank you so much for enlightening us about the autism and for getting this awareness surrounding autism. So Fahim, I'm really fascinated about the theme this year of the World Autism Awareness Day, which is transformation towards a neuro-inclusive world for all. And I think in the recent times, we have seen there's a lot of conversation surrounding the inclusivity, surrounding the diversity, and we had a talk a lot on our show.
Talking about inclusivity, there's some season that I was watching by the name of The Good Doctor.
Good Doctor, I was about to say that.
Yeah,
yes.
and it's so wonderful to see in the inclusiveness of people with the autism spectrum disorder in the mainstream society. Although, like Dr. Sabeen was telling us, they're a bit different than us. They see things in an abstract manner, but they can be part of our society.
And Fahim, thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you so much for alluding to good doctor, because nowadays I think so there's a lot of conversation on this topic, right? But how much that conversation is actually translated or catapulted into the field of action, we have yet to see it, and especially in our education system, because I think there's a massive need to rethink that, right? And I think after parents, teacher is a whole institution that can nurture a child, right? So to talk more on this and to sort of, because we have a clinical psychologist with us who is going to create an awareness regarding the autism. So we are very lucky that we have been joined by Miss Asma Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum, Miss Asma, and welcome to World this morning.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for inviting me on this very important day and topic.
Right. So, Ms. Asma, since you are a clinical psychologist, and obviously whenever parents approach you regarding their child being autistic, so have you seen the transformation taking place, especially because it was a taboo and no one used to talk about it, but now there's a lot of conversations around it, right? So, in Pakistani context, what more needs to be done to tackle this, issue or the awareness regarding the autism?
Well, I would say that this is a very important question. The transformation is definitely happening. If you talk about 10 years before, 20 years before, there was no awareness regarding autism. People were not just aware about what autism was or what autism spectrum disorder was. But now, mashallah, we can say that yes, many people are now getting aware about autism. But now what we need to work on is that we need to work towards the acceptance, towards the support that we need to provide the people who are on the spectrum. Because currently, I can say proudly that in Pakistan, we have got many institutes who are working with children with autism on the early intervention area. But unfortunately, when the children are in the transition period, when they are moving from their adolescence to puberty to adulthood, at that time they are nowhere. Most of the early intervention centers which are providing the therapeutic intervention to the children with autism, they hardly have different therapies and further management plans for people who are in the transition period or who are moving towards the adulthood. So we need to provide them more vocational training programs, more transition into adulthood programs, and how they can take care of themselves. We need to provide them job opportunities, because unfortunately there are no job opportunities currently available for them, because hardly we are having any job coaches around as well. So we need to work more on vocational skills training, job opportunities, and then lastly residential facilities, because when the children are not when the parents are not there, where they will go? They need to stay somewhere. They need to have a residential facility of their own. They need to have their independent lives. So for that we need to work a lot.
Also, when we talk about autistic children, we just say that they're just a bit different and see things in an abstract manner. For example, you just mentioned job opportunities. Very right. Yes, they should be offered job opportunities. What about their social interactions? Because obviously when a child will grow into a man, obviously the parents are going to think about marriage. And there are many parents in our society especially who say that, okay, he gets married, he'll be fine. So how do you counsel such people? How do you make such people more aware regarding the disorder?
Well, very rightly said that they do suffer from socialization issues. Yes, this is their deficit area for sure, that they have social impairment in social interaction and communication. So yes, but with time, like you've been talking earlier, that this is a spectrum of disorder and this moves from high functioning, mild, moderate, severe. So when they grow up, usually they grow up with all the behavioral issues most of the time and the sensory issues that they have. So in the later in life, they do have some social interaction issues. But for that, we being clinical psychologists or the therapist, we guide them, we support them, we train them how to interact with people, how to build conversations, how to actually have a social surroundings with them. Secondly, when you talk about counseling, we need to counsel parents. Yes, for us, the key is parents empowerment, because even if we work as therapists or clinical psychologists, We are having them only for an hour or so, but mostly they are at home with the parents and with the mother most of the time. So we need to empower parents that how they can deal with them, how they can train them. So what we are doing currently is that we need to have a if you are getting into a relationship, like you said that if you are getting into the marriage thing for children for the adults who are on the spectrum, for both the spouse they need to have understanding of their issues, because most of the time, like in our society we hardly accept the fact that the other person is not like typical. We don't use the word actually normal and abnormal. We use the word neurotypical or atypical. So for that, when the people are not typical, we do find out issues and concerns and we reject the other person. So the first thing that is important in a marriage relationship when you're talking about people who are on the spectrum, first thing is that both the spouse and the family should be well aware of the condition that the person is going through and to what extent it is there with them.
Right,
And then
right. So
secondly,
Miss Asma, we've really shortened time and we would love to build on conversation from here, but very shortly, we would like to get one last message before we wrap up our segment.
Sure.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, the last message. Okay, well, this year the theme for World Autism Awareness Day is transformation towards a neuro-inclusive world, which actually means that we need to accept, we need to support them, and we need to embrace the neurodiversity, that we all are different from one another. So we need to provide them opportunities just like we all have the opportunities around socialization, social gatherings, meetups, friendships, job opportunities, residential facilities. We need to work for that because early intervention is being done very well in Pakistan. But in our society in Pakistan, what we are lacking currently are the vocational training skills programs or centers. They need to be built up across Pakistan. Then we need to have a proper residential facility for them and job opportunities.
Right.
Which is really important.
Asma Ahmed, thank you very much for your wonderful message and a short conversation we had, which I really regret because it's something that should be talked more and more about, because we need to raise more and more awareness in our people as far as autism is concerned, the autism spectrum disorder. But definitely we will have such discussions in the future as well. And that's all we have time for today. But definitely we wish you the best of the weekends and the best of the Ramzan. And we hope you enjoy your weekend. And inshallah, we'll be seeing you on Monday. Until then, enjoy yourselves. Take care. Allah Hafiz and
Ramadan Mubarak and Juma Mubarak to everyone. Allah Hafiz.